When we talk about exercise after 60, we are not talking about youth. We are talking about truth. The truth that the body remembers every year it has lived, and yet remains quietly capable of learning something new. Science tells us that aging changes the body, but it does not shut it down. Muscles still listen. Bones still respond. The brain still adapts. What changes is not possibility, but the way we must speak to ourselves through movement. Daily exercise is not a challenge to overcome age. It is an agreement with it, a conversation between the biology of survival and the wisdom of experience. The question is not how hard should I exercise, but rather how gently and consistently can I remind my body that it still belongs in motion. This is not about athletic performance or transformation. It is about continuity, continuing to stand, to walk, to breathe deeply, to trust your balance, to feel present in your body. In this sense, exercise becomes more than physical activity. It becomes a form of self-respect grounded in science and compassion. The human body is never static. Even in older age, it is constantly remodeling itself. Muscles are breaking down and rebuilding. Bones are sensing pressure and responding to it. Nerves are learning and relearning patterns of coordination. What changes after 60 is not the body's ability to adapt, but the speed and the margin for error. Scientific research shows that muscle protein synthesis slows with age, meaning muscles need clearer signals and more consistency to stay strong. This is not a failure of the body. It is a shift in communication. Daily exercise becomes a language through which we speak clearly to our muscles, telling them, you are still needed. Walking, often underestimated, is one of the most profound daily exercises available to seniors. From a scientific perspective, walking is a full-bodied activity that gently loads bones, stimulates circulation, and activates large muscle groups without overwhelming the joints. From a reflective perspective, walking is a conversation between balance and trust. Each step requires the brain to integrate sensory input from the feet, the eyes, and the inner ear. This constant integration keeps neural pathways active. Studies show that regular walking improves insulin sensitivity, lowers blood pressure, and reduces inflammation. But beyond data, walking restores a sense of rhythm. It reminds the body that forward motion is still possible, that progress does not have to be fast to be meaningful. Strength training, when approached thoughtfully, is not about lifting heavy weights or pushing limits. It is about resistance, and resistance in biology is deeply tied to survival. Muscles exist to overcome resistance, whether it is gravity when standing up from a chair or the weight of a grocery bag. After 60, the body naturally loses muscle mass if it is not challenged, a process known as sarcopenia. But science also tells us that even very old muscles respond to resistance training. This is one of the most hopeful findings in aging research. Light weights, resistance bands, or even bodyweight movements send a signal to muscle cells to preserve their structure. On a deeper level, strength training restores a sense of agency. Each controlled movement reinforces the idea that effort still leads to change. Balance exercises deserve special attention, not because falling is inevitable, but because balance is trainable. Balance is not a single ability. It is the result of multiple systems working together. Vision, proprioception, inner ear function, and muscular response all contribute. As we age, these systems may lose precision, but they do not lose potential. Standing on one foot near a stable surface, shifting weight slowly from side to side, or practicing controlled heel-to-toe walking challenges the nervous system in gentle ways. Scientifically, these movements strengthen neural connections and improve reaction time. Reflectively, balanced training teaches patience. It asks us to stay present, to notice subtle adjustments, and to accept small wobbles without fear. Flexibility exercises, such as gentle stretching, are often misunderstood as optional or cosmetic. In reality, flexibility is about communication between muscles and connective tissue. With age, tendons and fascia can become less elastic due to changes in collagen structure. This stiffness is not just uncomfortable, it alters movement patterns and increases injury risk. Daily stretching, performed slowly and without force, helps maintain range of motion and reduces unnecessary tension. There is also something deeply introspective about stretching. It requires stillness, attention, and respect for limits. It is a reminder that progress does not always come from pushing harder, but sometimes from softening resistance. Breathing exercises are rarely labeled as exercise, yet they influence nearly every system in the body. As people age, breathing can become shallow due to posture changes, reduced lung elasticity, and habits formed over decades. Deep, controlled breathing activates the diaphragm, improves oxygen exchange, and stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which supports relaxation and recovery. From a scientific standpoint, this reduces stress hormones and supports cardiovascular health. From a human standpoint, conscious breathing reconnects us to the present moment. It slows time internally, allowing the body to reset its priorities. Chair-based exercises offer an important reminder that exercise adapts to people, not the other way around. For seniors with limited mobility, sitting does not mean inactivity. Seated leg lifts strengthen the quadriceps, arm raises maintain shoulder mobility, and gentle torso rotations keep the spine engaged. These movements may appear simple, but simplicity is not weakness. The nervous system responds to intention as much as intensity. Each deliberate movement reinforces neural pathways associated with coordination and strength. There is dignity in these exercises, in acknowledging current capacity without surrendering to decline. One of the most overlooked aspects of daily exercise is consistency. Biologically, the body responds better to regular moderate signals than to sporadic intense ones. Daily movement keeps blood glucose levels stable, supports joint lubrication through synovial fluid, and maintains cardiovascular efficiency. Philosophically, consistency reflects self. It is a quiet commitment made each day, not driven by motivation but by understanding. Motivation fluctuates, but understanding endures. The relationship between exercise and the brain becomes increasingly important with age. Physical activity increases blood flow to the brain, delivering oxygen and nutrients while supporting the release of growth factors that protect neurons. Research shows that regular exercise is associated with better memory, improved executive function, and reduced risk of cognitive decline. Yet beyond the statistics, movement engages the brain in problems, coordinating steps, adjusting posture, and responding to feedback all require attention. Exercise becomes a form of mental rehearsal for life itself, reinforcing adaptability. The human body is a system built on communication. Cells communicate through chemical signals, nerves communicate through electrical impulses, and muscles communicate through movement. After 60, this communication does not disappear, but it becomes quieter. Muscles receive fewer signals, bones receive less pressure, and the nervous system receives less variety. Daily exercise restores this dialogue. From a scientific standpoint, muscles require regular stimulation to maintain strength. When they are not used, the body interprets them as unnecessary. This leads to gradual muscle loss, not because the body is failing, but because it is efficient. Exercise tells the body that strength still matters. Even gentle resistance, standing from a chair, lifting light objects, pressing against a band sends molecular signals that activate muscle repair and preservation. Walking is one of the most powerful ways to communicate with the body. It is rhythmic, predictable, and accessible. Each step applies pressure to bones, encouraging them to maintain density. Blood flow increases, delivering oxygen and nutrients. The brain coordinates posture, vision, and balance, reinforcing neural pathways. Walking is not passive, it is a full-body conversation. What makes daily movement especially important is frequency. Biology responds more strongly to consistent signals than occasional extremes. A short walk every day speaks more clearly to the body than intense effort followed by long inactivity. The body learns through repetition. Over time, this repetition builds resilience. On a deeper level, movement communicates belonging. When we move daily, we reaffirm our place in the physical world. We remind ourselves that we are not observers of life, but participants. Exercise becomes less about fixing the body and more about acknowledging it. This shift changes motivation. Movement becomes something we do with the body, not to it. Strength after 60 is not about power. It is about preservation. The ability to rise from a chair, carry groceries, climb stairs, or stabilize the body during a misstep depends on muscular strength. Science is clear. Resistance training is one of the most effective tools for maintaining independence in older adults. Muscle tissue declines naturally with age when it is not challenged. This process is gradual and often unnoticed until everyday tasks feel harder. The important insight is that muscles do not lose their ability to respond. Even later in life, they retain the capacity to grow stronger when given appropriate resistance. Strength training does not require heavy weights or gym environments. The body recognizes resistance in many forms: gravity, elastic tension, controlled movement, standing up slowly from a chair, holding a wall push, lifting light objects with intention. All of these count. What matters is control, not force. From a neurological perspective, strength training improves coordination. Muscles must fire in the correct sequence, and the nervous system refines this timing through repetition. This reduces the risk of falls and improves confidence in movement. Strength is not only physical, it is neurological. There is also a psychological dimension. Strength training reinforces agency. Each completed movement is evidence that effort still produces results. This counters the quiet narrative that aging means inevitable decline. Instead, it introduces a new narrative: adaptation. Importantly, strength training encourages patience. Progress may be slower, but it is still progress. The body responds when given time and consistency. In this way, strength training becomes a practice of respecting limits while gently expanding them. Balance is often treated as something we either have or lose. Science tells a different story. Balance is a skill built from multiple systems working together: vision, inner ear function, sensory input from the feet, muscle response, and brain processing. When one system weakens, the others can adapt. Daily balance exercises challenge the nervous system in subtle but powerful ways. Standing on one foot near a stable surface, shifting weight slowly, or walking heel to toe activates stabilizing muscles and neural pathways. These movements improve reaction time and coordination. Balance training works because the brain is adaptable. It learns from instability. When the body wobbles slightly, the brain adjusts. Over time, these adjustments become more efficient. This reduces the likelihood of falls, which are one of the most significant health risks for seniors. Beyond safety, balance training cultivates presence. It requires attention to the moment. You cannot rush balance. You must feel the body's responses. This fosters mindfulness without abstraction, awareness grounded in sensation. Emotionally, balance training rebuilds trust. Fear of falling can limit movement and independence. By practicing balance in a controlled environment, confidence returns. The body learns that it can recover. This confidence often extends into daily life, encouraging more activity rather than avoidance.